house, and we were in Piebald's van, and we were smoking some dad grass in the van, and our friend Hambone, he had a tattoo on his butt.
I'm already laughing. Sorry.
Yeah, I know the name. He would do this
Okay.
thing called the running of the hams, and he would just get naked and he would run down the street just fully naked. And he had, like I said, this little tattoo on his butt. And he's the best dude ever. But he got on top of the van, and then like a cop drove by, and like he jumped off the van and started running, and they grabbed him, and they knew he came from the van, and in the van is where we were smoking all this weed. And so yeah, we all, like, I got handcuffed to Travis and thrown in the back of a police car. All of us got arrested and taken to the station or whatever. We were all in this like holding tank, just all fucked up, laughing. And we were in there for a few hours, and then at some point they were just like, all right, just get out of here, just leave.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So right here, I am going to play the clip of Aaron Stewart telling the same story.
Okay.
Right here. All right. And back
at it.
Amazing. Seriously. So, geez, man, any other memories like on tour with Piebald at all?
I just always loved that band. I just remember, hey, you're part of it, just being the anthem in the van whenever we were driving, and like every night getting to see them play that song and all of their songs. Like that band is just so good.
Yeah.
Like they're just such good musicians, and they're such great dudes, and we just had a great time.
They're the best dudes ever.
Yeah.
I like, I'm a big fan of your band. I'm a big fan of a lot of bands in the scene. Piebald's always been like my favorite. And they didn't even know me other than a random dude, just so you know, random dude coming to shows. And eventually, like when they got back together in 2016, their old like tour manager, or tour managers like John Cheese or Ryan McGaffigan, those guys used to go up during the song The Stalker and play the cowbell. When they got back together in 2016 at like the Royale in Boston, I was like, nobody's playing the cowbell. I should be doing that. And that was how they just knew me from coming to shows and saying hi, and that was it. And then I just started showing up to their reunion shows with a cowbell.
Yeah.
And then it turned into like a merch guy gig, and then like tour manager for the dashboard thing. But
That's amazing.
You can't do that with a lot of band. If I showed up to your gigs like, hey, I'm here to play the cowbell, you'd be like, get out of here, you fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of weird, but it's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me at the same time.
They are like the most like genuine, like they see good people, you know what I mean? And they take them in, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so can we talk about Full Collapse, because that album that changed everything for Thursday. Such an amazing, still one of my favorite albums till this day.
Thanks, dude.
Man, I mean, and you mentioned the song Understanding in a Car Crash. That song was huge, like huge. Yeah. I don't always like pick the big song as my favorite song from a band, but it's like really hard to not put that one at the very top. So can you just talk about the success of that album and that song, and just touring, whatever happened around that time that comes to your mind? Because that was huge for you guys.
Yeah, man, it was a wild time, and like I said, dude, it was like we wrote that very innocently. That whole record, that song, that whole entire record was just like stuff that we liked. You know what I mean? Like I remember just like the song wasn't finished until your hair was sticking up. You know what I mean? Like on your arms and stuff. And that's kind of how we judged that record and those songs. It was like, because nobody knew who we were. We could do whatever we wanted. You know what I mean? But it was very limited because we didn't really, we weren't like, you're like these musos, you know what I mean? Like these incredible musicians, we were just kids that were like, we like this music, we like this music, we like this music, we like this. Let's kind of put it together into stuff that we, that we would want to listen to, So that's kind of how it happened. And honestly, to this day, I never thought that music would be my life or my job. You know what I mean? It was we didn't write that record or think that record was going to do anything. We thought it was going to be like another Waiting, and we were totally fine with that.
Right.
And then when we did that, I mean, we literally did the video for like $1,500, and then MTV just like picked, like we did it for fun because, like I said, Steve was a video nerd. And I say that with love, by the way. Total video nerd. And it just took off, and we had no idea what was happening. And before you knew it, we were like on a bus, and then
Crazy.
playing with Thrice and Coheed, and then it was just crazy, and it just kept going and going and going, and it was kind of went so fast that we didn't really get to totally enjoy the rise before the
Right.
fall. You know what I mean? Because on any rise like that, there's a fall. But yeah, it was very innocent, and we wrote part of the record in my mom's attic, and then part of the record in Jeff's basement, and we recorded at the same place that we recorded Waiting at. And yeah, dude, it was just wild. Just wild. I remember being so sick recording the record too. Like I had
Damn.
strep throat. I was eating halls like it was my fucking job. Like the whole floor was covered in like drumstick shards and halls label like wrappers. Like literally, like I would say probably 150 halls wrappers in a 2-day session.
Damn, dude. Good
'Cause
thing
it was
you
the only
weren't
thing.
singing.
Oh God, yeah.
Right.
Thank God.
That would
Jesus.
suck.
But I remember just being so weak and trying to get through these songs, like literally trying to get through recording these songs.
Wow. Because
And it
there's
turned out to
nothing,
be the biggest record. You know what I
and
mean?
there's nothing you can do in that moment. This is your time. You have to get through it.
Yeah, we were paying for it. You know what I mean? And it was
Right. Damn.
booked. So it was crazy. Like I
It is
don't know if the
crazy.
songs would have turned out any different if I felt better. Maybe they would have been faster, because but back in those days, like we weren't playing to a click or anything like that. We were just fucking 4 count in and play the song. You know what I mean? Like
Hell yeah.
whatever tempo my body did is what the song was.
I love that. What's your
Yes.
favorite song off that album?
I mean, probably the most meaningful song would be understanding in a car crash, because like the drums start the record.
Hell yeah.
It's like that blap blap.
Bop, bop.
That's
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hell
that
yeah.
feel. So that's the most meaningful to me, because that was like, kind of like my signature on that song. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
think my favorite song on that record was "I Am the Killer,"
So
because
good. So good.
we
Yeah.
Tim and I, the bass player Tim, we got really into. We lived together in New Brunswick at the time. We also wrote a bunch of the record in New Brunswick too, in the college house, even though I didn't go to college there, but Tim did. And it was around the same time that At the Drive-In Relationship of Command came out, and also Deftones White Pony, which is a fucking fantastic record. But like I got really into Abe on that record, and I remember like I Am the Killer was totally like my ode to Abe Cunningham. So I really like the drums in that song. Even still to this day, I like the drums in that song. Like, when you write music, and especially me when I write drum parts and I listen back to, like, when we do reunion shows, or like like the 20-year anniversary something or other, and I have to play Full Collapse or something front to back, I cringe at some of the drum parts. I'm like, I would never do that today. It would be a much better written drum part today than it is then. But there's something about that youthful energy, you know what I mean, that I really, I don't know, it's just special. But getting back to it, I Am the Killer, I feel like I wrote everything that I wanted to write in that song. Even to this day, I still I would still do that.
You wouldn't do anything different.
Nah, I mean, maybe play it a little bit better, but no.
But no, that's a great answer. I always love Paris in Flames, and me and I play shitty drums, and me and my buddy, we used to jam. We would always, that was one of our go-to songs. We would play Paris in Flames. That
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah,
that's a fun one,
so
because
much fun.
It's just the groove the whole way through. It's that fun kind of like, you're in the pocket.
Groovy, yeah.
And
this is like a really weird take, but what's the it's like one of my the start of that album is one of my favorite interludes ever. I know that's like a weird thing to say, right? I don't even know what's happening in that intro. What's it called? It's like A001. What's it called? I don't know.
It's like, I don't, it's like binary code, so I don't even know what we call it. We just call it the intro.
But yeah, whatever it is, dude, it's so, I don't know why, but it's just so rad, and I don't even know exactly what's going on in that noise, but it's perfect. And then it just goes
Thanks,
right,
dude.
like we said before, right into the understanding that bop bop, and it's just it's wonderful.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah, of course. Geez, man. All right. So fast forward, War All the Time was huge too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was huge. I still remember, you remember was AIM, AOL Instant Messenger? I was just talking to a buddy of mine, and I still remember him having the lyrics to the first song for the Workforce Drowning, that please take these hands. Like I remember him having that in his AIM profile, like you know, you used to put lyrics in your profile and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
I still remember that at because I looked at his profile as we both got the CD when it came out, you know, and I remember being like, oh man, he beat me to those lyrics being in my AIM profile. I don't know. I mean, we were in high school and shit, but
Like your MySpace top 8.
yeah, exactly. But just what a great album. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, man, that one was a banger. And um, we kind of went to work when we wrote that one. That was we kind of got off the label that we were on, which was Victory, and got signed by a major label called Island Def Jam. And we would literally go to our rehearsal space, pretty much 5 days a week and write pretty much all day. So it felt like I was going to a job.
Right.
And it was fun, but it was also grueling, and it also wasn't fun because like writing music should be fun. But then when you're doing it in the pace that we were trying to do it, like we would scrutinize over the tiniest notes and the tiniest little changes and all this stuff. And like I would have to play parts over and over again as our string nerds would try to figure out what they're going to noodle and play. You know what I mean?
That's
I
funny.
say that again, I say string nerds with love.
Yeah, of course. I do that
But
with this podcast. Every little fucking thing. It's probably nothing to nobody that will like nobody would notice if they're listening, but I do the same thing. Go ahead.
that's what happened. You get into those details if you have the time to do it. You know what I mean? That's kind of like why I like writing music fast, because it's kind of like you capture that spirit, and not everything's perfect, but when you have time and you're just like, and the label's kind of up your ass about like, oh, what do the songs sound like, and you're just not telling them because you're on a major label, but you don't want to be a major label band. You don't want to be conceived as a or perceived as a major label band, because at that time, you know it was, I think we were on the same label as like Nickelback or some shit. You know what I mean? It was like, we don't want to be,
Right.
put together with that. But yeah, dude, I remember recording that record was fucking wild because that was the first record we ever did to a click track. And I played the entire record by myself with no music, just to a metronome.
That must have been weird.
It was super weird. And we had 3 different kits, so I had to do 3, quote unquote perfect takes, meaning like on the click, no fuck ups, so as best as I could, 3 different takes of each fucking song. So
Damn.
I did like so many. It was just, I felt like the Incredible Hulk when I was done. I was like fucking jacked and pissed off, and
Wow.
so I think that record is it's very special because it was quite a mountain to climb for me, as far as like, I enjoyed playing to the click. I enjoy playing to the click till this day, but that was just a weird experience because a lot of Thursday songs, they have a lot of weird changes, and they go through this, ebb and flow. And on this record, all the ebbs and the flows were like to a fucking grid.
Right.
So it was definitely a different way of recording and playing the songs, but I enjoyed it. And the record's fun, and I like listening to it, when I have to relearn the parts. But
what an amazing record, man.
thanks, man. It's very dense. It's very dense. There's like not a lot of, like, most music has space in it. There's no space in a lot of that record. It's all like fucking balls to the wall all the time.
It's like there's no fat.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom. Yeah, absolutely.
To the point.
It's so good. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
So, geez, 5 Stories Falling. That's like an EP, right? It has like, is it 5 tracks, I think, with like live songs?
Yeah.
And then I think correct me if I had the CD, I have it somewhere. It was in between Full Collapse and War All the Time, right?
Yes.
And the last track is Jet Black New Year, which is my favorite Thursday song. I think it's a lot of Thursday fans' favorite song.
I think so too, yeah. And it also is, it's one of my favorite songs to play because people like it so much that
So
like you could see them getting stoked, and the crowd reaction, you can
yeah,
feel it. You know what I mean?
it's so good. Now I gotta ask, I've always wanted to know, why didn't that make the Full Collapse record?
I it just wasn't done. It was just an idea, at
Okay.
that time. It was just like, well, we have this song, and then I remember I think we got off tour and we just had this song kicking around, so we just kind of finished it. And it's again, it's one of those songs that has so many different parts and so many different fucking time changes that are like literally like brick walls on the drums. It's like, oh, this is a completely different time signature, and then you got to bring it back to this other time signature. So that was there's a lot of meat in that sandwich, as our producer Sal would say. Like, there's a lot of meat in that sandwich. But yeah, it just wasn't finished.
But did you record that the same time you recorded Full Collapse, like with those other songs, or?
I think it was a different time.
Oh, okay.
I
That
think it
makes
was a
sense.
different time. Yeah.
But you didn't record it with War All the Time, obviously, either. So
No,
it was
no,
just
no,
a
no.
random, like a,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
It's
that
a
makes
one off.
sense. But
And that's
man,
one of my favorite songs. It really is.
and
It's
it seems to have become your closer